September 2nd. Happy birthday to my sister. First of all, happy birthday, Carrie.
Congratulations on being born, Carrie.
And welcome to the Just Baseball Show. It's the three of us. It's me, Peter, it's Aram, it's Jack. Off the top, we got to address a little bit of depressing things. I did a goof. My webcam has been a bit blurry, and Aram hasn't heard this yet, but Jack laughed at me, and he appreciated my humility. The film was still on it, Aram. I'm good at some things, and I'm really dumb at other things.
Tech, not one of the good things.
The good things. I can
Bets.
read numbers.
Let's hear the units.
Bets, we can do units. We're one of the best in the world. But at the tech part, we're one of the worst in the world, and I just feel like such a loser. Video games suck at them so bad. Tried to Twitch stream. They're telling me like how to put together a team, and I'm like, I know all the players, but I can't press the buttons correctly. Aram, you're good at a lot of things. Maybe being handy and getting the dust off the walls is not one of your strong suits.
No, absolutely not. But we did move out. If people watching on YouTube, they can see the blank wall behind me. It looks like I live in an insane asylum, ready to move tomorrow. But I picture like the Claritin Clear commercial where you just peel that off. Like that's what your camera looks like now. So congratulations on the upgraded camera.
You know what I was thinking? I was thinking the military grade sunglasses that are like glare reducers. You know what I'm talking about? Where like you see those infomercials and you put them on and then it just makes life.
Yes. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
Now that we're past that incredibly embarrassing thing about me, Jack, you're perfect, aren't you? And you made these great power rankings, which we're going to go over, which you can also find on justbaseball.com. We're not going to go through every single team. But the best part about Casual Fridays is normally, sometimes we do this on Thursdays, Wednesdays, Tuesdays, but today it's Casual Fridays. Aram and I decided not to look at them at all. So we're going in blindly, going to give you our initial reactions. That will take place in about a couple of minutes, but we have some things to address first. The greatest thing since sliced bread, Gunnar Henderson debuted, and he hit a home run almost immediately off Tristan McKenzie. Gunnar Henderson, Corbin Carroll. In the gambling Twitter spaces that we do, everyone's like, oh, you got to fade the rookies immediately. I was like, don't do that with Gunnar. Don't do that with Corbin Carroll. They're from a different...
You're going to tell us who you're doing that with today, though?
Ken Waldachuk is not from that different breed. The A's called him up for a reason. Why wasn't he going to pitch in September for the Yankees? Because he's not ready yet. He's going to pitch for the A's today against the Nationals. I'm on the Nationals. We'll see how that bet goes because we are, of course, recording on Thursday before the game takes place. But let's talk about Gunnar Henderson for a second, Aram. How excited were you to see him homer in what, his second at bat?
Yeah, well, in the first at bat was a really like riveting one as well. And I mean, this guy commands his ABs. You talk about how people want to fade the rookies. Generally, I agree. I was writing up kind of how he fits in on justbaseball.com and what people can expect. And like normally it's ridiculous to say, oh, let's call up a rookie and he's going to help us down the stretch here. That's why the Yankees haven't called up Peraza, because I feel like
why?
I think based on what they've, I get it, but like they probably feel, okay, how quickly is he going to get acclimated? How quickly is he going to really be able to help us down the stretch? Gunnar Henderson is in that elite category where it kind of translates right away. And sure, he's going to have his rookie moments, but this guy can hit, especially righties. And I think he's going to be a problem down the stretch here.
Aram, Gunnar Henderson and IKF have the same amount of home runs.
Is that actually true?
Like they can't, and IKF is supposed to be this good defender. I can't deal with him at shortstop anymore. It cannot be worse than Oswald Peraza. It can't be worse than Anthony Volpe. Hell, it can't be worse than Trey Sweeney. Seriously, at this point, I mean, he's a fine player, but he brings a batting average to the table, and that's about it. Jack, what was your reaction to Gunnar Henderson, and what's been your reaction to IKF, if you have one?
Yeah, so I was actually thinking, my brain went to Gleyber Torres instead of Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, and I was thinking, well, do we think Oswald Peraza could put together a 520 OPS? Because that'll be comparable to what Gleyber Torres has done since the All-Star break.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't really have any thoughts on IKF. I don't really have any thoughts on the Yankee shortstop situation. I really like that Oswaldo Cabrera is playing as often as he is. Because he is a defensive chameleon. And whenever I've turned on a Yankee game that Cabrera has been in over the last week and a half, 2 weeks, I'm just impressed. Like, I know we were all together in Manhattan and we were watching him for a moment, and he made a really nice defensive play in shallow right while playing second base. I keep on checking in on Cabrera, and I continue to see these amazing plays that he makes. So I think that he's around for the stretch run. Now, in terms of Gunnar, the thing that stands out to me, like, yes, the home run off of Tristan McKenzie, but
The hair.
also the hair. Yeah, losing the
sex
helmet,
appeal.
that graceful. Like, he was a stallion rounding the bases. Not often do 21-year-olds look stallion-esque as they round the bases on a home run, but Gunnar Henderson did.
Can we talk about what this kind of means for the Orioles too? Because we kind of mentioned this in passing, but Grayson Rodriguez is going to make his first start today. Of course, you're hearing this on Friday, but it's Thursday when he makes his first start. If they can get him up, if they can get DL Hall up, how do you think those two are going to impact the rotation? And where is Gunnar going to play?
So let's clarify first start of a rehab assignment for Grayson Rodriguez. He's in Aberdeen, which I think is their high A. So he's starting a rehab in high A. He will probably jump to Bowie and then to Norfolk. The beauty of the Orioles system, I think, over any other system, is the proximity to each other. It's incredible how close all of them are to each other. Delmarva, Aberdeen, Bowie, Norfolk, like, you can keep on swapping between levels because they're all like an hour drive from each other.
It's actually awesome.
That's how it should be.
That's how it
some
should
teams,
be.
it's so weird. But yeah, that was another thing I kind of detailed in the article. We talked about it yesterday. I think Gunnar, he's going to move all over. He's played third yesterday, but I think we're going to see him play a lot of second because you talk about bad second halves. Rougned Odor, we talked about it yesterday. It's been brutal and both defensively and offensively. So you're getting a huge boost from Gunnar there, but he's played all over the diamond through the minor league season this year. And that's not because he can't play short. It's because he's that versatile. He has a cannon for an arm because of course he does. And I think we're going to see more second base, but he can also play a little bit of third. DL Hall, they've been grooming as a reliever now over the last, not for the long term, but I think it's more for this year to, one, preserve his innings. He's been injury prone, and two, I think that's where he fits in to help them immediately. I think that's what they're going to use them as over the next month or so, is kind of a multi-inning lefty reliever, which he could really thrive in that role.
Absolutely.
So,
go ahead. Go ahead, Jack.
Yeah. No, just real quick, Aram, like, we talk about the strengths with the top prospects in baseball all the time. What's the flaw with Gunnar Henderson?
Lefties. That's my only concern, is how is he going to hit big league lefties? 34% K rate on the season, left on left. And I was watching a couple ABs and triple, some guys with good breaking balls. It just really made him look a bit uncomfortable. I think they're going to shelter him a little bit from those situations. They still have Ramon Arias, who can play third base, and I think they can mix and match. They just added a Jesus Aguilar to the roster like maybe 5 minutes before we started recording, which is funny because they signed him to a minor league deal, and then he immediately gets his contract selected there. So I think they're going to kind of shelter him from lefties a little bit. That's really the only weakness I could say he really has.
Power rankings. Let's do it. Enough about the Orioles. We should kind of bag on the Blue Jays for a second. I mean, have you seen the way they're playing the Cubs? Orioles can catch them. And that's why this is so exciting too, because you add a guy like Gunnar Henderson. It's just a boost in the clubhouse too, because you have the veterans who they're right there in a playoff hunt. Maybe that was unexpected. And then you see the organization saying, you know what? The window has opened quicker than we thought it would. So we're going to start calling up our reinforcements, even if it might seem a little bit early. It really doesn't seem all that early because Gunnar Henderson homers in his first game. And if Grayson Rodriguez can make an impact in the rotation too, I mean, Aram, who in Major League Baseball reminds you the most of Grayson Rodriguez? Not right now, because, he's obviously not going to be at his full form immediately. And Jack, I know you're squinting that forehead too. Who does he remind you guys of? Doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not asking for perfection. I'm the guy with the film still on my webcam. Just give me your best.
But I'm perfect, so I have to be perfect.
Agreed.
That's a really good question, because there's a lot of things that make Grayson Rodriguez unique. And part of the reason why I think they might push him forward if he looks good health-wise, in these couple rehab starts here. He's huge at 6'5", but 4 above average to plus pitches. You just don't see that much. I would say maybe Walker Buehler. Like the arsenal reminds me of Walker, except add 3 inches of height 240 pounds. So he's just a horse. And I would say the command might be a little bit further ahead of where Walker was at that age, but obviously the command is good. That's that's how high I am on Grayson Rodriguez. Look what's right next to me. Funny enough, I'm moving out, and this is the one thing I have left for those who aren't watching on YouTube. It's a Grayson Rodriguez autograph, Bowman Chrome auto out of 150. That I've just been holding on to for a while. I don't buy pitchers, but that's my exception.
And for those on YouTube watching as well, Jack's Wi-Fi basically just kicked in as Aram said Walker Buehler and Grayson Rodriguez remind each other. So we got his full reaction. Jack, welcome to the show and welcome to your Wi-Fi.
So Aram and I think are spending too much time talking to each other. So I can actually leave the Zoom now because Aram can speak for the both of us, because the words that I had prepped, if I was going to go first, if Aram let me go first there, I was going to say a taller, burlier Walker Buehler.
No way.
And
that's
exactly
crazy. We've never
Aram
floated
just
that
said.
one back and forth.
Never before. And the reason you say, bigger Walker Buehler is a lot like what Aram said. And, you look at Buehler at best form now, he's 5 pitches at any point and he's walking 1.5 guys per 9.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't walk people and he can turn to any pitch in any count. Changeup's good. Breaking stuff is disgusting from Buehler, and the fastball can be overpowering when it's on. That's Grayson Rodriguez, probably with a more electric fastball.
Yep.
Probably a better changeup, but maybe worse breaking pitches.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Give him a shot, please.
Give him a shot.
Orioles, you might make the playoffs. Let's get into the power rankings written by our guy, Jack McMullen on justbaseball.com. The Oakland Athletics and the Washington Nationals switch spots. The Nationals are now 20. The Nationals are now 30, and the Oakland A's are now 29. What made you do that, Jack?
You see the note that I have in there about the starting pitchers? They've had 7 guys start a game since the All-Star break. They all have an ERA over 6, and the 2 that don't, or over 5. Is it over 6 or over 5?
It's over a lot.
It's over
a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we're splitting hairs here.
I think it's over 5. I'm looking at it right now.
It's over 5. So 5 of the 7 guys that have started a game for the Nats since the All-Star break have an ERA over 5. The 2 that don't, Josiah Gray's got like a 4.8 and Corey Abbott has a 4.9.
Wait, we got a big series. We got a big series to decide who's the worst team in baseball. We got A's Nationals, right?
We got the toilet bowl. When's the toilet bowl?
No, it's today. That's why I'm on. That's why I'm on the Nationals. Better team than the Oakland A's.
Waldichuk trying to preserve the 29th spot in Just Baseball's power rankings for the A's. That's why they brought him up. They're trying to make a push.
Aram, do you agree with this analysis? Like, are you higher on the A's? Are you higher on the Nationals?
I'm higher on the A's just because like they brought up guys that are like competent, right? Like this is actually a hilarious conversation. You bring up Waldichuk, who I think is better than most of what the Nationals are rolling out there. JP Sears has looked pretty good. Like they've got more usable dudes, and Cole Irvin as well. Like Jack mentioned that. The A's are much more watchable and just a better team.
Jack, you're down on the Tigers, but you're up on the Royals. The Royals moved to 25 in the power rankings, and the Tigers go from 26 down to 27. Why? What gives?
Yeah, I mean, so at this point, the teams that are out of commission, they can climb in the power rankings. Like you can climb as high as like 21 or 22 if you are fun, if you're kind of enticing.
I like that.
And the Royals are way more fun than the Detroit Tigers. Like the Tigers are actually limping to the finish line.
They're depressing.
But the Royals, they're using this opportunity to like actually draw fans to Kauffman Stadium. I think I'm actually more inclined to go to a Royals game on September 2nd than I was on May 2nd.
I agree with that.
You know who's hitting pretty well, Aram? Nick Prado.
Yeah.
Prado has been hitting well. I just wish Vinny Pasquantino was consistently in the lineup. I know he's dealing with something right now. I wish he was kind of consistently in the lineup because they have a very exciting young batch of hitting prospects. While the Tigers can't hit anything.
No, and they're young. The problem with the Tigers, their young guys are struggling and the free agent signings suck. So where you look at the Royals, at least their young guys are like hitting, showing signs of life, look solid. Like that infield and the bats that they have there. And then even calling up like a Drew Waters, who's looked great in triple and is interesting enough. Like Pasquantino, Prado, Melendez, and Bobby Witt could hit you 120 home runs. Like that's a really fun young core. So I agree with that. And they're going to be fun if they can put it together. And Brady Singer's look pretty good too.
And don't forget about my guy, Mike Massey.
Oh, Mike Massey as well. Yeah.
Let's give you a chance to talk about Chicago teams. We'll start with the Chicago Cubs, who are a bit of a, one of the bigger risers, I guess, in these power rankings. There's not a lot of big ups and down swings here, but the Chicago Cubs are at 23, up from their previous ranking at 25. And you put them over the Colorado Rockies. I have no real analysis on that front. I think you could go either way. What I will say is I've been excited to find that the Cubs feel like they have a real shortstop in Nico Horner. If we're looking at F4, I think he's 7th right now among shortstops. Like that's a very underrated player in baseball right now. You could say that Nico Horner is one of the most underrated players in all of baseball.
We just did.
It's funny you said no. I was laughing because literally the when we had our editorial meeting on Tuesday, the article I pitched that I wanted somebody to write this week was Nico Horner is the most underrated player in baseball. So
baseball brains. We're just
Clay Snowden working on it. Yeah, I'm reading everyone's minds today. I've got you now and I've got Jack. Watch out. But Clay Snowden's working on that right now. And I agree. I mean, the guy impacts the game in so many different ways. If the power ticks up a little bit, he's entering, that elite threshold of shortstops, but they've got their guy for sure.
And Jack, Nick Madrigal is a baseball player.
He's a baseball player. What is he? Since the All-Star break, he's hitting 300, slugging 338. Is that right?
Still counts.
It's in the article.
That's right. That's right.
Can I just acknowledge real quick that Aram decided to get rid of all of his material possessions from his apartment, and now he can start reading minds. I think we need to simplify our lives.
I agree. I'm actually
I just have my superpowers right here with Grayson Rodriguez.
Yes, that's your Thanos hand.
Who's before we continue, I am interested in the card conversation because we have a lot of baseball card people and we haven't really unpacked Aram's card collection. Is there anyone you've bought recently?
Recently, Endy Rodriguez, I doubled down on.
Yes.
I figured if I was going to give that out on our TikTok, I better take my own advice. So put it out and then bought a few more. Switch hitting catcher in the Pirate system that's just been hilariously good over the last 40 games, hitting almost 400 with 15 pumps. Like he's been a joke. So that's a guy that I really like because he also plays second, left, outfield, like all over. So even first. So that's a guy I've been collecting. But on the big league side, I've been scooping up more Manny Machados. I just continue to buy Manny Machado and Nolan Arenado because those are two guys. I love third baseman. Two guys that also they're Hall of Famers. Arenado is literally done. Like he can be a Hall of Famer, and Machado's well on his way.
Is Machado going to be a Hall of Famer?
Yes. Yeah.
I was going through the numbers. Like, is he a 500 home run guy? Probably not. Is he a 3,000 hit guy? Probably not. Is he a 300 career hitter? Probably not. I don't know if Arenado is going to be a Hall of Famer. Is Machado going to be a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, Machado is going to be a better version of Scott Rowland, I think. Like, I think when you look at career WAR, I think Machado is going to be that WAR accumulator because he's so good defensively for so long.
Peter is right, though. He doesn't have that one, like, we call it buzzwords, like in other contexts, but it's almost like buzzword stats. You have to have one of those that like kind of puts you over the top. But again, I look at it like a Rowland situation here where he's already 50.6 BWAR.
Yeah.
50.6. He's 29.
And
50.6 BWAR.
I was not trying to say that I don't believe he's a Hall of Famer. I do think he's a Hall of Famer.
You were saying you hate Manny Machado.
I think you said he's the most overrated player ever is what I was saying.
You're reading my mind again. It was what I meant. I didn't actually say it. No, what I'm saying is I totally believe that Manny Machado should be a Hall of Famer and will be a Hall of Famer. I just look at all of the counting numbers, which a lot of these Hall of Famers look at besides WAR, and you could point to the WAR and say, yes, he's a Hall of Famer due to that, but I feel like that's the only thing he's going to be a Hall of Famer in. I don't know if he's ever going to win an MVP. The Gold Gloves are certainly there. I don't know if he's ever going to win a title, especially in San Diego now, where they aren't even good. We're going to talk about them a little bit later in the power rankings.
Okay, so if you are so focused on the counting numbers, if Manny Machado were to stop wearing batting gloves, do you think he gets into the Hall of Fame?
Yes. I mean, that's obvious. Yes.
Yeah.
That's fair.
No, the last thing I'll say on that.
More important than counting numbers is the aesthetic. It's batting average, aesthetic, and pitcher wins.
Also, have you seen that clip of him looking at the ball and then throwing it 100 miles an hour across the diamond that went viral on TikTok back in the day? Like that's also factors into modern voting. But
agreed.
The last thing I'll say on him is I mean, if he were to hit that 30-year-old like plateau and just fall off a cliff, like it could be a discussion because he's 29. And but you assume he puts together another, at the very least, 5 good seasons. And I think he's playing the best baseball we've ever seen him play right now, or at least up there offensively this season. He's in good shape. But then, yeah, defensively, Arenado's ready to go. Those are 2 guys I really like. I've been buying up. Austin Riley, I bought, earlier in the season. That was another eBay pick on the TikTok, and he's too expensive now.
Also, I'm so done counting out the guys who are consistent year in and year out, even if they have a bad season like the year prior. I'm not saying that Manny Machado did that, but the fact that, people were down on Nolan and Arenado before this season. Some people were not that people were down on Paul Goldschmidt, but even we, he wasn't the number 1 first baseman in our rankings. He was like 5. Yeah. And I think we were even higher on him than a lot of other people were that, he's getting 34 years old. A guy like Jose Altuve, like how much longer is he going to be good? They're all like the best players at their position. They're just year in, year out amazing. And that's why I say Mookie Betts, I feel, is the best player in baseball not named Shohei Ohtani, because year in and year out, I know what I'm going to get from Mookie Betts. Elite defensive play, one of the best base runners. He's going to hit close to 300. He's going to have a WRC plus in the 150 range. He can hit 30 home runs and he can steal you 25 bases. I know what I'm going to get. Like, that's why Mookie Betts, and just the clubhouse aspect of what Mookie Betts brings to the table. He does nothing poorly, and he's all around amazing.
It's fair.
It's more than fair. It's actually correct. All right, let's keep moving. Jack.
Yeah.
The Angels are worse than the Marlins. Are we sure? One team has Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani. Regardless, if you're talking about fun, one team has those and Luis Rengifo. The Marlins don't have a hitter as good as Luis Rengifo, but the Angels don't even have a pitcher close to as good as Sandy Alcantara. So what do you like? I don't know.
So I personally like the Marlins, and like you look at the Marlins and you look at the team slash line, it's the worst. It's the worst. They're hitting 211 as a team since the All-Star break. They have the worst average, on base, and slugging percentage, which of course adds up to the worst OPS in all of baseball since the All-Star break.
Very good.
They cannot hit.
Nope.
Sandy Alcantara is the best pitcher on planet Earth right now. And they steal a bunch of bags.
They do steal bags.
They steal bags. John Birdie and
Birdie's
company.
been awesome.
Are they still the only team in baseball with more than 100 bags?
Is Garrett Cooper still bases?
Garrett Cooper can barely run, period. But the one thing that I was expecting was for them to be way down there. I honestly wouldn't have bat an eye if you put him at 28, because this is the worst offense, not only in baseball at this point. This is a historically bad offense that we've seen in the second half, especially after they DFA Jesus Aguilar. This was from one of my guys at Fish Stripes, Luis Adio Weiss. I hope I said that right. But Luis said, he pointed the stat out, and it's insane. Marlins hit 196 in August. That's the second worst mark in said calendar month in MLB history since the 1903 Washington Senators hit 192.
Dude, I remember
balls
that
were made
team.
out of
They were
corn.
not that good. Yeah.
Yeah, that Senators team wasn't too good.
No.
Yeah. I mean, you could
but
say
they had good expected stats, that 03 Senators team.
Yeah. 03 Senators team. Okay. We make fun of the Tigers. Tigers don't have Sandy Alcantara, but the Tigers have a better bullpen. I mean, how much better are the Marlins than the Tigers if we're being real with each other? I mean, I know.
Well, listen.
I'm sure they could say, like, it's not the Marlins. This was a tweet from Greg Peterson. In the last 30 games, they haven't scored more than 4 runs in 28 of them.
28. Yeah.
They should be relegated.
And the rookie, like, if we're talking about the Tigers rookies are being bad, Aram, what young hitter on the Marlins is doing not even okay?
Like, just
that's it. That's the end of the sentence.
Just not too bad.
Yeah, just not awful.
Yeah.
I mean, Blade has been like not nauseating at times. But at least with the Tigers, though, everyone was expecting those guys to be like rookie of the year candidates, right? So that's the difference, where it's like Riley Green was one of the rookie of the year favorites. Torkelson was, I think, the rookie of the year or close to it.
Rookie of the year pick. Look how well that went.
And he's hitting $180 in AAA right now. Like,
oh no.
And then the Marlins side, Blade lost a lot of helium. Burdick, no one really paid attention to. Gerard Encarnacion had no, really talk about him before the year. But I think it's the young pitching that puts the Marlins over the top. Like, they don't wheel out a total bum, really anytime. When everyone's healthy, in which they are right now, you're getting an interesting starter every single day.
Yes.
All 5 spots in the rotation are an interesting starter. And I don't think any of the teams in the back 10 really can say that. So that is the one thing that makes up for what is the worst offense I've ever seen in my entire life.
Jack, the Angels are better than the Marlins. You got it wrong. You're not perfect.
I am perfect.
One that you did get right, and I kind of love this. One of the biggest risers in the power rankings versus one of the biggest fallers. Arizona Diamondbacks up to 19. San Francisco Giants from 23. San Francisco Giants down from 15. I think you said it yourself perfectly in the article. If the wheels haven't fallen off the bus for San Francisco already, losing 7 in a row was certainly the final blow. They have been terrible lately, but the Diamondbacks have been sneaky good. I wouldn't have been surprised if you ranked the Diamondbacks above the Giants. I really wouldn't.
So here's the fun factor playing in, right? Corbin Carroll is up. Corbin Carroll and Alec Thomas in the same outfield. You've got so many guys. Does it really hurt that they got boat raced by the Phillies last night? It totally does. I mean, that was
they won
murder.
The first 2 games. They boat raced them in the first 2 games. It's the Phillies who are supposed to be way better than them. And then they swept the White Sox. Like, I'm higher on the Diamondbacks than even you are.
Them putting 8 up on Aaron Nola was very, very impressive.
Unreal.
Very impressive.
Aaron Nola's been better on the road this year.
My thing is, like, I don't think this team currently, I don't think this active 28-man roster now on September 2nd is talented enough to be any higher on this list than what they are. But they deserve that bump into the top 20 because of how fun they're playing right now.
Aram, I got to say, I'm excited about this Diamondbacks team. What's their one weakness? Shortstop with Geraldo Perdomo.
No, I love on the way up. Perdomo. Dude, what? I love Perdomo.
No, stop, dude. Stop. Yeah. That guy has blown my mind in terms of and not to be harsh on it. I hate bagging on players. It's not about Perdomo. Like he's done what he's done everything again, but he's always been a top 100 prospect, and I've never understood why. He's never even put up that great of numbers in the minor leagues. Doesn't hit the ball that hard. He's a good defender. Runs a little bit. Whatever.
He's so
tiny.
But Jordan Lawler.
The tiny little X in front of some of his things.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Or just it looks good. And people talk themselves into it because he's an expensive international free agent. But you look at Jordan Lawler, he's already in AA and he's looking pretty good. So if Lawler's timeline is a bit quicker here because he's much more polished, I think, than people thought he would be as a very toolsy high schooler, that pretty much satisfies their one weakness. They got to get through the next year. Maybe they go another year with Nick Ahmed if he comes back off of injury, and at least he's going to play elite defense. But everything else is good. You look at the rotation, the 1-2 punch of Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen has been great. And then they're going to have a bunch of other guys that they can call up. We talked about it in yesterday's episode. Jack and I did of some of the prospect arms we like over there. And then how about the bats? Even Jake McCarthy has come up. And I know I pulled a Bowman Chrome auto of his to go back to the Cards thing 3 years ago, and I was livid, absolutely livid. I don't know where I threw it. But it's somewhere, and I got to scoop it back up because it's probably a decent card now. The guy's got he's 2 wins above replacement, 12 bags, 6 homers in 71 games so far this year.
But we're not even talking about the best player on the Diamondbacks. Stone Garrett is better than all these guys. I love
Stone.
He's literally better than all of them. And you know who's been good lately? Carson Kelly had a really bad start to the year at catcher, been hitting the piss out of the ball.
Yep.
The combination of Stone Garrett, Carson Kelly, and Josh Rojas, it's hard to find a better trio. And then they have those other guys like Corbin Carroll
Walker,
and Ketel Marte and Walker, whoever they are.
The combination of Stone Garrett, Carson Kelly, and Josh Rojas
is better than most teams. And
we gotta get a hobby. Yeah. We gotta get a hobby.
They're sick though. And then the Giants talking about the Diamondbacks get hit, they can't hit. And if Carlos Rodon has a bad start, the game's over. If Logan Webb doesn't look like the Logan Webb against the Dodgers in the postseason last year, the game is over. Jacob Junis has been fine, and of course, there's other pitchers in the rotation. The only bright spot is the Velociraptor, Camilo Duvall, because they can't hit. And John Brebbia has also been good. He pitches every single game, every game, every Giants game you turn on, he's coming in the 6th inning. Whether they're winning, losing, doesn't matter.
Do you know who leads? Jack, do you know who? If it's not in front of you right now, do you know who leads the San Francisco Giants in F4?
Is it Rodon?
I should say position players. Who leads position players on the San Francisco Giants in F4?
Is it Jock or no?
Nope, he's 6th.
Can I
How is
guess?
he 6th?
because he's not playing defense. And
it's
like
not in front of you.
It's not in front of me. I just
Okay.
have the power rankings over. I'm going to say Mike Yastrzemski.
He is 7th.
I'm gonna say Tyro Estrada.
Bang. Tyro Estrada at 1.9 F4 is
So
their
bad.
most valuable player. Austin Slater at 1.8 F4. Wilmer Flores at 1.7. I haven't dug it up, but I want to look across the entire game, across every big league team. I don't know if there's another major league team out there that doesn't have a position player with an F4 of 2.
I bet on the Giants over win total.
This was my one passionate take going into the year, was that this team stinks.
Yeah.
And they've been worse than I thought they would be.
So me getting Tyro Estrada correct should tell you again that I need a hobby really badly. And B, I mean, like, think about it. The best hitter on the Giants, quote unquote, in Tyro Estrada. I think there are a lot of people that listen to this podcast that have never seen Tyro Estrada swing a bat. There are some people that probably didn't know he was a baseball player.
Former Yankees great, Tyro Estrada.
How many games did he play with the Yankees?
Like 8.
Yeah.
No, I don't know how many games he played. Played with the Yankees, though.
Played 51, 61,
Okay.
61. He was really good for them. 29 WRC plus in 2020.
All right, let's move off the Giants. We've done enough. But we're moving forward to two teams that definitely don't deserve any praise. And that's the White Sox and the Red Sox. Ranked right in between each other. If you want to see where they're ranked, check out the article. Let's just bag on them.
That's a tease. Yeah.
Yeah, let's just bag on them. They're not very good at baseball. Lucas Giolito, I think, has a 12 ERA. Lance Lynn sometimes puts together good starts.
Thank goodness for Dylan Cease.
Dylan Cease is really good at baseball.
Yeah, but Cease just had a rough
I want to give credit to Jose Abreu. Jose Abreu has
second.
Yeah. Jose Abreu, though, I like every time I think this guy's going to start to taper off, slow first half, he has really been awesome this year. 309, 386, 454 slash line. Like, this guy's going to hit, I think, until he can't walk anymore, like Pujols style.
Aram, another one of those guys. Maybe had a bad year last year or something, and people are just down on another one. He's going to be consistent until the day he dies.
Just don't swear him off. Yeah,
he's a beast.
Even when he can barely move, he's going to give you a 120 WRC plus.
Exactly.
That's another perfect example.
Jack, but you know what? Do you have anything bad to say about the Red Sox, or maybe something good? Maybe something good about the Red Sox. Nick Pavetta's the ace.
I don't have much good to say about the Boston Red Sox. What I do want to say is Jose Abreu this year in August hit 333 and had a 796 OPS. Have you ever looked at his career splits in August? He's like one of the greatest hitters all time in the month of August. Jose Abreu for his career is slashing 334, 390, 581 in August.
Wow.
He loves
He's
August.
one of the greatest players of all time in the month of August.
You just keep proving why you need a hobby.
Yep.
All right, let's move on.
Red Sox?
Yeah, I mean, does anyone have anything to say about the Red Sox? I mean,
I was debating this with Colby the other day, and this is something I want to revisit in a future episode. Which situation would you prefer moving forward, the Red Sox or the White Sox? They're both very brutal. Looking at the Red Sox team right now, I don't know why they don't call up Tristan Casas. I would love to see them promote him. He's been phenomenal since returning from injury, hitting well over 300, walking as much as he strikes out. Instead, we get to see Franchi Cordero and Bobby Dalbec combined for a 0.0 FWAR in what has been, in 200 games this year.
At least they're not a detriment to their team.
Yes, that's correct. They are just there, existing.
Next team in the AL Central. As I'm scrolling through, because Arm and I are going blind into this. The Twins are pretty low, Jack. Twins are pretty low. I'm not saying it's a bad ranking by you, but as a man who said the Twins would win the World Series last year, as a man who's still on the Twins this year, are you finally saying, all right, maybe the Twins aren't that good at baseball? They're 15th.
My thing is, like, they need to be perfect offensively in order to overcome what they don't have on the mound. And, we can watch Yohan Duran do his thing all day long in the back end of that bullpen, like an 100-mile-an-hour splitter. Bundy got him a cake. Great. But Jose Miranda has been really good. There were a couple other guys. Nick Gordon has been really good since the All-Star break. But you need Correa to be really good. You need Luis Ariz to be really, really, really good.
Buxton.
And they're not doing it right now.
Need Buxton's to be healthy and playing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's tough for me to see a postseason in which the Twins are involved.
And the pitching is so underwhelming in Minnesota. I mean, Joe Ryan is fine. Joe Ryan's fine. Sonny Gray is good. Tyler Mahle is good. Dylan Bundy is not. The bullpen, you have Yohan Duran and not much else to be that excited about.
Lopez hasn't been good. Yeah.
He's been fine. He's been I don't even have the stats in front of me just from I agree. I'm not even going to say he's been good. I'm going to say he's been fine, and I think that's accurate. Do you have the Jorge Lopez numbers in front of you with the Twins?
I don't have Lopez in front of me, but actually I do now. He's thrown 11 innings for them and ERA of 2.45. He's been good over the last couple outings, but I mean, nothing special. But the thing with the Twins is I look at 15, I'm like, oh, it's a little low. But then you look ahead at the teams that are ahead of them, and you're like, which team are you putting the Twins over? And, we can kind of revisit that question as we go through the subsequent teams here. But I don't know if I'm putting the Twins ahead of any of the other teams that Jack has ahead of them.
I wouldn't either, especially because I think these next four are perfectly ranked, except I have one issue. So at 10, there's the Padres. At 11, it's the Guardians. At 12, it's the Blue Jays. 13 is the Brewers.
And 14 is the Orioles.
14 is the Orioles. I was almost skipping over them because we just gave the Orioles a lot of shine, and they deserve to be at 14, at least at this moment.
Yeah.
The only thing I would change is I would put the Guardians over the Padres. I actually think they're a better team.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do. I think if we're talking about the fun factor, I mean, the Guardians are more fun to watch. Their pitching has been awesome. And you know what? Cal Quantrill. Let me say something for a second. Let me fucking say something about Cal Quantrill for a second. The man hasn't lost. Jack just left the screen. You know what, Aram? You leave the screen too. This is the Peter Apple Show. Welcome to it. Cal Quantrill hasn't lost a game at home in 39 career starts. The second half from Cal Quantrill last year was electric. The current second half from Cal Quantrill is electric. Aram, he's at a 3.50 ERA. If he has a motherfucking 3.49 ERA, you're getting that tattoo on your forehead.
I got a perfect spot right in the middle of my
your
scars.
Forehead. And it's, that picture I post on Twitter all the time. It's going right in the middle of your forehead.
Right there. No, it's going real small right in the middle of my scars on my right hip. I already know where it's going. No problem.
It's gonna fade with the scars. I want it forehead. Whenever we're on the Just Baseball show, I see Cal Quantrill's gorgeous face staring back at me while you talk to me about the top 100, which I am still fiending for.
Here's what I'm thinking Aram does. I think he does top lip. He does like a lip tab, but on both. Top one says daddy, bottom says Cal. Daddy Cal. What do we think?
I love it.
That's in consideration. And for those who might not know what that's in reference to, didn't listen to that episode, Peter and I have a bet. If Cal Quantrill finishes with a sub 3.5 ERA, which he is currently at 3.5 on the dot, which is hilarious.
I have with a month left.
Some sort of a very small, I will clarify, very small Cal Quantrill related tattoo. Because I don't have a tattoo. I'm not edgy like Jack or Peter. You guys both are. I'm the only guy. I'm the only guy on this podcast that doesn't have a tat.
And then once you do, we'll be not a fake poser.
We'll be a tatted up pod, which is sick.
Yeah, maybe we'll get like a tattoo sponsor.
Yeah, that is cool. I mean, all three guys are just tatted talking ball.
Yeah.
Arm, turn your hat backwards. We're just backwards hat tatted baseball guys.
Sick.
It's cool. It's real cool. But what do you guys think about my take that the Guardians are better? Because I just went off a tangent there talking about my king. But I do actually think that the Guardians as a full team are more well-rounded and just a better squad than the Padres are. Because to the Twins' point, I feel like the Padres, everything has to be rolling for them to be right. With the Guardians, they at least can be bad. Their pitching may not show up one day, but then the offense does. Like they're just more well-rounded, kind of like I was always so high on the Cardinals because when one side goes down, the other side will pick them back up. That's how I feel about the Guardians.
That's what I would say. I think the Guardians are the safer team, especially with the stat that Jack tweeted out the other day or today. which was what the Guardians bullpen has been doing as of late. So you look at the bullpen, you look at the starting rotation, and then the offense just being good enough. And that's the thing, is that's all they needed, was the offense to be good enough. Jose Ramirez hasn't even been playing well. And, you assume that's not going to continue. He's going to get it back going again. Like, this is a team that is very well balanced and almost seems impervious to the losing streak. Whereas the Padres, obviously way more upside. If it all clicks for the Padres, they could be the best team in baseball, or one of, not the best, but they could be a top 5 team in baseball if their pitchers are pitching the way they're supposed to and their guys in the field are hitting the way they're supposed to. That obviously hasn't been the case. So I think the Guardians are a safer, consistent team. That's not, I don't disagree with that. I think they're pretty much neck and neck.
Our guy Javi was having a field day over Josh Hader getting 1 save.
Yeah.
That's where we're at with the Padres, Jack.
So what I will tell you, like, full transparency, I had the Guardians ahead of the Padres. I had Cleveland at 10, San Diego at 11. Then I stepped back and I said, wait,
pussy.
One of those teams has Juan Soto and Manny Machado and the other doesn't.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
And like, again, like, you assume Blake Snell can start.
Yeah, one of the other things.
Joe Musgrove.
Yes. Snell has looked good. That's the other thing.
Aaron Savali has looked better than all of them.
Which is disgusting.
It's so weird. I love Cleveland. And like, I think Steven Kwan has quickly like become my single favorite player to watch in baseball. I can't get enough of watching Steven Kwan.
Put the Guardians. Put on your big boy pants. Go in, edit the article, put the Guardians out of the Padres.
So
do it.
Remember the 6 times earlier this episode where I said I was perfect?
It's clear you're not.
I'm a pansy.
Yeah.
I don't have big boy pants.
We found his one flaw. I have countless. Aram has a few, and Jack has one.
I have one.
Let's keep getting into it. You're high on the Rays.
Yeah.
Rays have been rising.
Yeah.
9. But Shane McClanahan and Brandon Lau just hit the IL, but you're still high on them.
Yeah. I think I was riding actually positive vibes after we figured out that Shane McClanahan's injury was not as serious as it looked.
Okay.
Like a cortisone shot back in 2 weeks, you missed 2 or 3 starts. That's it. You're good. Thought that was big. My thing, like, I just kind of took a page out of your book, Peter. I was like, here I am saying that this offense like looks like shit, and they just keep winning. So I'm just gonna stop doubting.
Right.
Like I'm gonna stop trying to think about the Rays and just be like, yeah, I mean they're number 9 for sure.
That's exactly what I did with the Giants this year, where I thought to myself, I doubted them all last year. It was like, I've never been right on the Giants. I thought they were going to suck last year, and they won 107 games. That was the team that was my least profitable team, was betting against the Giants. So I banned them in terms of betting against them. And then this year I'm like, all right, I lost on the Giants so much, I'm not going to doubt them anymore. And look how shitty they are. But the Rays have been a team where I've never doubted, and then they've always just been good. So that's what I thought the Giants were. But the Giants just aren't the Rays. The Rays have a different formula, right, Aram? Yeah,
the Rays are the Rays.
I agree, because, and I think this year has been almost the most impressive example of the Rays, because we've talked about, I've brought it up so many times, but just this team has been decimated like none other, I think, in Major League Baseball this season. And the fact that they are still 15 games over 500 this year with what they've dealt with is
wild card team.
Insane. One guy I want to highlight before we move on, Drew Rasmussen, of course, had the perfect game going. What were you going to say?
You were like, one player I want to highlight. Drew Rasmussen. He's like, Yu Chang.
Drew Rasmussen, over his last 8 starts, a 1.84 ERA, 44 innings. He's punched out 41 and walked 6. Only allowed a total of 9 earned runs. This guy's walked in at the perfect time. Looks like a legit number 2 for them. I don't know if he's sustainably that, but right now pitching at that level. And if they get Glasnow back at the end here, it's a nice little boost potentially.
It's a non-zero chance.
Non-zero.
So I remember talking with Aram as soon as the Adames trade went through last year, and we thought mutually beneficial, because JP Fireeisen had a really good start to the 2021 season with Milwaukee. And I think a lot of people looked at Fireeisen as the main piece of that return for Willy Adames, but it was Fireeisen and Rasmussen. And, I think Rasmussen had a shot at being a swingman for Tampa. I didn't think he was going to factor into a postseason rotation.
His slider and fastball combo is nasty.
That's what the Rays find those guys with no issue. It's great. And Fire Eisen, before he hit the IL,
He didn't allow a run.
IL example was insane. He was insane. He didn't allow a run all year.
Only guy left with a 0 ERA in baseball. I mean,
it's a joke.
Not qualified, but
it's a joke.
It works. Also in the MVP debate, Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, you know who also is a 0 ERA? Aaron Judge. We'll continue. Philadelphia Phillies. I have been, I think Aram and I have kind of been on the same page where this team is so polarizing, but I think Aram has been a little bit more pro than me. I'm just here to sit back and listen because I agree that the Phillies should be the 7th. Tell me why I should believe in the Phillies fully. Like, tell me why I should fully buy into Philadelphia.
What this offense did without Bryce Harper, and now they add Bryce Harper.
Alec Bohm is so good.
I think that's the only reason you need. Like, Real Muto has been one of the best hitters in baseball since the All-Star break. Real Muto has been so good. Bohm has been so good. Rhys Hoskins has continued to hit the shit out of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Schwarber may strike out 1,000,000 times, but he also hits 1,000,000 homers.
He's also second in home runs in baseball.
Yeah, and now you add Bryce Harper to the fold. I also mentioned they have, is it the most innings among starting pitchers in all of Major League Baseball? They're top 3. So. Yeah, I know they're for sure top 3. I think it was the most innings thrown by starting pitching in all of Major League Baseball. That tells you what kind of guys they're running out there. Wheeler and Nola at the very top. I know Nola got hit really hard by Arizona, but what Aaron Nola has done this year, like finally proving that those X stats were not a myth.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all systems go for Philly right now.
And Wheeler isn't even pitching his best. And I think Wheeler's going to continue to get going. And I believe in him in the postseason still. And then how about Ranger Suarez in the second half? Yeah. His last 7 starts, a 2.04 ERA. And it's not like Suarez has come out of nowhere. He showed a lot of really impressive flashes last year. And so there's reason to believe that Suarez can kind of be that number 3 guy for them, the rest of the way. And then how about Sir Anthony Dominguez? I mean, this was one time a very highly regarded arm that seemed like it just wasn't going to pan out and now puts it back together, looks dynamite. And in the second half for him, he's only allowed, I think, 1 earned run. They've kind of got pieces that we were bagging on them for, right? Who else is going to pitch outside of the top 2? Who's going to pitch in the rotation? Is the offense going to be a little bit more balanced? Is the defense, going to be the worst ever? I mean, we talked about beer league softball looking defense. They've improved that with Brandon Marsh, even if he can't hit right now. I just think this team's kind of hedged all their weaknesses and their strengths are playing up as much as we thought they could.
And Edmundo Sosa has been fine for them, and even Brandon Marsh, whatever. If he doesn't hit, it's not like they need him. He can just hit 9th, and Gene Segura hits 8th, and Gene Segura rakes. I mean, so Brandon Marsh is just there for defense, and it's fine because he is one of the better defensive center fielders. Let's move into the top 5 or 6 because I have a problem, and it starts with my team. They don't deserve to be 5. They're worse. Cardinals are better. Cardinals are better than them. They are. And I'm not overreacting. I'm not. Maybe I am. Fuck you if you think so. I don't know. The Yankees have been just awful. And it's not, a couple of players have been bad. Like the only good player on the Yankees, 2 good players. DJ LeMahieu and Aaron Judge. Cabrera. And Oswaldo Cabrera. Nestor is even hurt now. He was the only good starting pitcher. Frankie Montas has a 7 ERA since they acquired him. Garrett Cole puts in good starts, but he's faced the A's and then the Angels. Like, I'm not putting a ton of stock into that either. The bullpen has been so hit or miss. The defense has not been good. The base running, they run themselves into problems all day long. I look at the Cardinals, sound, offense, pitching, bullpen. I mean, that's the only thing that you can make fun of the Cardinals for is like Helsley has given up a bomb or 2 here and there. But the bullpen has still been good.
Helsley has like a negative ERA.
That's the only thing I'm pulling up is that on Sunday Night Baseball, he gave up a home run. Like, that's it. The Cardinals are a better team than the New York Yankees. They are. And you, again, being a pansy, should put the Cardinals out of the Yankees.
Yeah, I want to hear. Before I chime in, what's the rationale on the Yankees over the Cardinals?
So my thinking was Yankees fans cannot be meaner to Aaron Hicks. So once they get nice to him again, he's going to go ballistic. I'm kidding.
Good. Thank
My
God.
reasoning was Aaron Judge is on this team.
Yeah,
and
amazing.
we know that the starting pitching hasn't been great for them, but Montas, Cole, Tyone, I don't know.
When healthy.
Yeah, there's just something about the talent on this team, and there's something about what they've done. I mean, they were so good for so long this year.
I know.
That's my big thing.
I know.
The Cardinals are hitting their stride at the perfect time, but the Yankees were so good for so long. They were the top team in our rankings for months.
So you're saying what they've done for the majority of this season has kind of earned them a bad month.
It played in, I think.
It's a bad month.
That.
It's a historically bad month,
but it was also historically a bad second half.
Yeah, it has. But here they are. They check in 3 games ahead of the Cardinals in the win column. So
yes.
Even despite the struggles, they're there. I think if we did this maybe in a week and the struggles continued, I would definitely be a little bit stronger on it. But I think we're right at the cutoff of Yankees benefit of the doubt. Maybe we'll extend one more series here. And especially if Bader comes back and that doesn't ignite them at all, then I'm definitely getting concerned. But given some of the guys that have been out, I think Montas has to settle in. He's too talented. You assume Nestor's going to come back and you're going to get those other pieces with Bader coming back as well. I still believe in this Yankees team. I think they're way too talented, but the Cardinals are freaking good. The Cardinals are really freaking good, and they've got an MVP on their side too.
As we record, the Yankees are 6 games above the Rays, and they have 6 games against them.
That would be the biggest collapse in baseball history. I think that would outdo the Mets. 17.
Yeah, I think it would.
17 games left, 7-game lead, even though it's already less than that with more games to go. Whatever crazy lead they had a month ago, that would be. I was looking at that earlier today, and I'm sorry, Peter, but I'm kind of rooting for some chaos there.
Oh, me too.
That would be one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life if the Yankees relinquish that division.
Severino made a rehab start. Let's continue. Braves are really good. They deserve to be in the top 5. I love this 4. We can go read the article on justbaseball.com, but I do kind of want to talk about the order because I do think that it's interesting that the Mets are number 2. And I totally agree with you. I was at Citi Field last night and I was talking to fans too. And, obviously they love Timmy
Trumpet.
I saw Timmy Trumpet. It was electric. I mean, it's just electricity at Citi Field. The Mets are better than the Astros. The Mets, when you have DeGrom and Scherzer humming and Bassett's been this good and Diaz is absolutely unhittable and Ottavino looks great, and then you have an offense with no rest besides the catching position, and even Thomas Nido had a double last night. They play great defense. Everything about the New York Mets is awesome, especially with Verlander having an injury right now. The Astros offense hasn't been as good as I think a lot of people think. It's been good. It's not been crazy elite where it's that much better than the Mets. And the Mets kind of do everything better than the Astros do. I mean, maybe, we're splitting hairs here because both teams do everything awesome, but I love putting the Mets above the Astros. I agree with it. Aram, what do you think? Before we kind of get into Jack's reasoning.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm a huge Astros fan in terms of just the way the team is constructed, the additions they've made, and everything about what they're doing right now. But yeah, I think when you look at what the Mets are bringing to the top, also what they have closer wise, we've been waiting for Edwin Diaz to come down to earth, and guess what? Over the last, I think it was month or maybe more than that, he has a negative FIP. So you have the best closer in baseball and the best 1-2 punch rotation wise, an offense that can grind any ace out. They will grind down any ace. It doesn't matter who it is. You kind of put all that together, and that probably is the second best team in baseball because you can't put anybody above the Dodgers at 90-39. You just reasonably can't. And with what the Mets are bringing to the table right now, I think they are the number 2 team in baseball.
Yeah. The thing that jumped out to me was when Aram just said that this lineup can grind anybody out. And that's the thing that I think separates the two of them. So obviously you have 2 of the best hitters in baseball, 2 of the best middle of the order power hitters in baseball that you're comparing head to head. Yordan Alvarez, Pete Alonso. my thing is everybody around those two, like pitching staffs are exhausted after they face the Mets.
Yeah.
I don't think they're necessarily exhausted after you face the Astros. And that's why I gave the edge to the Mets.
I agree with it. And Dodgers are the best team in baseball, no shit. Right?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
They are historically good, too, again. They're on pace for 112 wins. The Yankees were the first team to 70 wins, and the Yankees are 79 and 52. Dodgers got to 90 wins. Let me say that again. The Yankees were the first team to 70 wins. They are 79 and 52, and the Dodgers have won 90 games. Aram, you hear what I said?
Yeah, no, I love it. It's pretty funny. It's one of those things where you look at the Dodgers and from top to bottom, like that is the most flawless team I think I can remember.
They don't even need Walker Buehler.
They don't even have. No. Yeah, I mean, they lost a top 5 pitcher in baseball, and
Blake Trinan, their closer, hasn't pitched all year.
Yeah, neither really has cost them much. Kershaw's missed most of the season. Dustin May just returned. Like,
Gonsolin's on the IL now.
Gonsolin's on the IL. None of it matters. They're so deep. And Gavin Stone, by the way, we've been talking about him. He's been fighting some surprising command issues in triple. I don't expect it to continue. I think it's just adjusting. But he pitched 3 1/3 innings. They're trying to keep his pitch count a little bit low. He struck out 7 in 3 1/3. 7 of the 10 outs were via strikeout. That's a guy that they could call up too. It's just an embarrassment of riches. My question for Jack is, you have the Astros 3, Braves 4. Did you give any consideration to the Braves topping the Astros, or were the Astros kind of set in stone? Was that top 3 pretty good to go?
That top 3 was kind of set for me just because of like what kind of depth you have pitching wise for Houston. Like, they're deeper. And we brought it up on yesterday's show. Like, Houston without Verlander now has to go to a 5-man rotation, where Atlanta is still trying to like figure out.
It's a revolving door of quadruple A guys. And that's selling them low because they're all good. Several of those guys are going to have good big league careers, but at this juncture, they're kind of quadruple A guys.
Right. Like, I think that the Braves lineup is better than the Astros lineup, but I feel so much more confident in the Astros pitching situation than I do Atlanta's pitching situation.
Do you know who leads the Braves in FWAR in the second half position player wise?
Michael Harris.
Yep. Michael Harris at 1.8. Do you know who leads the Braves in WRC plus minimum 4 plate appearances?
Ryan Goins.
Chadwick Trump, 462 WRC plus.
Yeah, he's hitting 750.
He's in 750, baby. No, but I mean, this team top to bottom, Travis d'Arnaud's been really good. You know who's actually come to earth, down to earth in the second half of it is Dansby Swanson, but that doesn't really matter because the rest of the team has been so good and Vaughn Grissom's been so good. So yeah, I look at the Braves though, and I think they're pretty similar to the Astros in a lot of ways. But yeah, I think that you talk about the starting pitching sets them apart, and also Kenley Jansen's starting to look a bit vulnerable.
Yeah,
and I mean, I'm not worried about the Braves bullpen because they've got so many other dudes, but if they're relying on Jansen for those high leverage situations, the Braves are a little bit more vulnerable, I think.
That was the power rankings. Go find them all on justbaseball.com. Couple weekend series that I'm excited about before we wrap. Yankees against the Rays, of course. Padres against the Dodgers, with Sunday Night Baseball being Padres versus Dodgers, and the Royals versus the Tigers. Now let's actually talk about some real series, and that is the Yankees versus the Rays. At least on Friday, the day that you're hearing this, it's currently Domingo Germán versus undecided. Probably take the Rays. They're going to do a bullpen game and they're going to figure it out. Then it's Jeffrey Springs versus Clark Schmidt. Probably the Rays win that one. And then we have Frankie Montas versus Corey Kluber. Rays probably sweep. I don't know what to say. I mean, we're outmanned and outgunned there. And then Dodgers Padres. It's Andrew Heaney versus Mike Clevenger on Sunday Night Baseball.
Oh, that'll be fun.
I assume the Dodgers are going to win that. Sean Manaea versus Julio Urias. I think we know who's going to win that. The Dodgers, for anyone that doesn't know. And then we have Yu Darvish versus Dustin May. I think the Dodgers are going to win that. I think we're going to see the sweep by the Dodgers and a sweep by the Rays.
So real quick before we go, make sure you listen to FAN tonight if you plan on ingesting Yankees Rays. Howard Kelman.
Howard
Radio
Kelman,
voice the
friend of the
Yankees
show.
on Friday night.
I will be
Yes.
listening 1000%.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome. That's gonna be really fun. And also, I wanted to hit on one more point with the Braves. Ronald Acuna, real quick.
Yeah.
It was really funny because I was doing an Acuna dive legitimately 2 days ago, and I was floored at the ground ball rate.
Yeah.
49.4% ground ball rate, which is not off the charts. Michael Harris is in the high 50s, which is off the charts. But for Acuna, that's never been his game. Last year, a 31% ground ball rate. The year before that, 35. For his career, 40%. And that's usually a guy that's not really able to get into his legs, right? If you're not able to get into your legs, you roll over, you kind of lose your lower half. Something I always look for in prospects that are young and kind of struggling to tap into power. And I'm thinking, man, maybe his knee is messed up. Somebody asked him after, I think, the last game yesterday, kind of how he's feeling. And he said, terrible. I'm going to get through it this season. Which Acuna is very dramatic. So I don't know how bad he's actually feeling, but he's definitely feeling it. And I think that the data backs it up. But Acuna is like, I'm feeling horrible. I'm going to try to get through this season, and then we're going to evaluate the knee in the offseason.
Wow.
Hate to hear that for one of the most talented players in the game. And he's still putting up above average numbers, which is just a testament to how freaking good he is. A 119 WRC plus, which I think he's legitimately playing on a bum knee. I don't think he's making excuses. And I think the batted ball data backs it up. If he can get it right, get a magical cortisone shot or something, and kick it into gear, then maybe that Braves team could be a number 3 in the power rankings.
Maybe this is unfair. I'm giving him a pass for the season.
I think,
for example, we're going to
to
rank players next year, right? Of course, when we do our top 10s, banger alerts. I don't want to ding Acuna really at all. Like, I think he's a top 5 player in Major League Baseball. If we're like, I can't include the guy behind me. I just don't know what to do. He ranks 0. He's
literally he gets his own designation.
Can't rank him.
But I think we become so numb to ACL injuries because we've seen guys come back so quickly. But that doesn't mean that certain guys aren't impacted by it in a way that it takes longer for them to recover, especially such an explosive athlete like Acuna. I know we see NFL players just come back and they look good, but it's a little different when you're taking 600 plate appearances and really getting into those legs and really bending the knees and doing all those things. And I think it's really affecting him. I agree though. When we go to our rankings this year, I'm not dinging Ronald Acuna for a slightly above average season off of an ACL tear. Like,
one leg.
It's still a good season, right? It's almost like Mookie's lost season last year for other reasons. And look how he's bounced back. But I just wanted to talk about Acuna because if people are wondering, why he's struggling or whatever, that's probably why
he feels horrible.
Concerned for this year. But long term, I think he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Jack, college football this weekend.
College football.
On Not Gambling Advice, we have an awesome interview with, if anyone has found us on TikTok and watches any other sports, bring it on the Stay Hot pod, talk some football.
These guys are great.
Excited to have those two guys talk some football, talk some bets. Also, Not Gambling Advice is going to not transition fully to football because obviously we're going to be doing baseball and that's going to be on the forefront until the end of the postseason. But we will also be mixing in football too. And if you're interested in any more football talk, I know Jack's probably going to make some college football stuff. I know Aram's definitely going to be talking some football, but we're just going to put that on the NFL TikTok. It's just Gridiron Fans as well as on Not Gambling Advice because that's more of our just, as we expand and we do other things like, we talk other sports too, and we love other sports, and that'll be on that. But this is the Just Baseball Show. Thank you guys for listening. Please rate us 5 stars if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, toss us a like. Let us know in the comments where we've been wrong. I freaked out on some teams. Let me know where I was wrong. I probably wasn't, but it is what it is. Get yourself some Just Baseball merch, long sleeves, hats, the whole 9. Anything else before we go?
Yeah, let me know if you find any other flaws about myself personally, because I'm still trying
I got
to find
you.
them.
I already have a notes section I've been kind of compiling over the last few months. So I'll just forward that over. It's not a finished product yet, but we can just forward that over, in the next couple of days.
Awesome. If you wouldn't mind, don't do it at a normal person hour. Like set an alarm to get up at like 2:30 or 3 in the morning and send it to me then.
On a Wednesday.
I'm going to send it right before your next call.
Yeah.
Right before your next broadcast.
That works. Yeah. No, and shoot me a FaceTime and say, hey, did you get to read it yet?
And with that, thank you, everybody.